Good evening, world. How are you? It's my absolute pleasure to introduce you to the one, the only, Dr. John Demartini. And we're going to have him with us live in just a couple of minutes now. I can see we've got 781 live. The number's going up all the time. Maybe about 2-3 years ago, I was searching for what is my purpose in life? What is my highest value? Why am I here? And as a result of that, I started looking and I bumped into a book. I don't know if any of you out there have read it. It's called The Values Factor by Dr. John Demartini. I read it. My wife Annika read it, and as a result of that book, we decided we had to go meet Dr. John Demartini. So almost exactly 1 year ago, we took a plane from where we live in Scotland. We flew out to the US and we landed in a place called Denver, Colorado. And to my absolute amazement, my total, complete amazement, we weren't met by one of Dr. John Demartini's people. We were met by Dr. John Demartini himself. Now, I'm not pretending that we had a smooth beginning. I'm sure Dr. Demartini would remember the first evening that we spent together, but it was transformational in my life, in our lives. And it's one of the biggest pleasures I've ever had in my life to be able to share this next hour with you and to be able to introduce to you the person that I would say that many people in the world would revere. He is the foremost world expert in human behavior. He's written so many books. He's inspired so many people's lives. He's changed so many people's destinies. And it is an absolute huge honor and privilege, and something I never thought I would have, to call him my friend. So for the next hour, I'm going to be talking to my wonderful, inspirational friend, Dr. John Demartini. And I'm going to be asking him questions live, and he's going to be sharing his wisdom with us. So I've got some pre-prepared questions, but make sure you put your questions in the chat box, and we'll get through as many as we can. We just went through 1,000 people live on this webinar now. So absolute honor, absolute privilege. Dr. John Demartini, how are you doing this evening?
I'm doing great, Paul.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. So we've got some pre-prepared questions, if that's okay, Dr. Demartini.
Absolutely.
And then obviously as the hour develops, we can go into other areas depending on what people ask us. But so here's some questions from me to you. I like to think I know you a little bit, but every time I talk to you, I learn a load of stuff. So I've heard you many times on many recorded media and in many books say that within all of us, we have the ability to inspire, we have the ability to be great. But I think many people listening to us tonight may wonder if they've got it in them to achieve great things. And some people doubt themselves. So for the people that wonder if they've got greatness within them, what would you say to them?
Well, Paul, I would say that that every individual has a unique set of priorities, set of values, things that are important to them that are unique. And whenever they are pursuing the things that are truly most meaningful, most inspiring, most important, the highest value, the highest priority in their life, the thing they can't wait to get up in the morning and do, and they just pursue that and stay focused on that and not let things from the outside distract them from that, they tend to excel, they tend to expand, they don't require motivation, they're inspired intrinsically from within, And what happens is as they achieve more, they give themselves permission to achieve ever more, and they keep expanding that, and greatness starts to emerge in them spontaneously if they will allow themselves to be the authentic them. What so many people do is they compare themselves to others, they minimize themselves, they cloud the clarity of what's inspiring from within from them, and cloud it with all the expectations and shoulds and imperatives and injunctions and traditions and conventions and mores from the outside, which then shrink them instead of expand them. So it's inherent within all of us to be able to do something extraordinary, but we have to give ourselves permission to shine, not shrink, and to listen to the inner voice and the inner vision instead of so much on the outer vision, the outer voice.
Mm. And I'm privileged to know you well enough to know that you've got many, many examples, and thank you for that, John. That I can see you becoming animated, your hands are moving, you just you can't help it. You're just so passionate about this.
It's Italian.
Okay. So could you maybe share with us one example that, as you would say, put a tear in your eye, from someone that's come to work with you that didn't think they were great, didn't think, I'm moving my hands too, I'm becoming Italian, that you saw a transformation in them, you saw a breakthrough in them?
Yeah, I'm not going to give a name, but there was a lovely gentleman, I would guess now 7 years ago, who was in Australia and who was living a life working for a company. He was involved in a real estate sales, but he had a dream to do his own real estate development and real estate purchases and investment. He got involved in selling real estate as an agent because he thought that would give him knowledge and would step him up. But no matter what, the years were going by as an agent, and he was making enough to meet ends meet, as they say, but not really getting ahead. And it seemed like he had this plateau in his psychology that the second he starts to get ahead and he makes this really big sale, then there's all of a sudden a period where nothing happens again. So he goes back to the same income. I don't know exactly what brought him to the breakthrough experience, but he came to the breakthrough experience, and he actually had somebody that he was working with that he was resenting, and yet he was subordinating to him at the same time. He was minimizing himself, but at the same time to this person, but at the same time resenting them. So he's trapped. So in the breakthrough experience, he actually went through and did what I call the DeMartini method on this person and liberated himself from the resentment and the admiration. It neutralized it, and he realized that whatever he saw in that person who had a successful real estate company, he had the capacity to do it within himself. And the moment he did, he had been saving some of his money. He had hoped to be able to do his own developments with it, but he didn't have the energy or the vitality or the confidence to just go out and do it. So at the breakthrough experience, he wrote down his goals and dreams. I chatted with him for a brief few minutes about seeing how what he was doing now, how it would help him go to the next step, and then mapping out a strategic plan on what he was going to do to make that next step. And off he went. And he did it with an extra 5 hours a week starting out until he was able to transition from what he was doing as a sales agent into his own development. And he started looking for property, and buying rentals. And slowly but surely he was building up a portfolio. Within the first year, he had only 3 properties, but within about 3 years, he had about 17 properties. And anyway, 7 years later, no, but probably 6 years later, because it's about a year ago now, he was on his way to being financially independent in 6 years. Now, some people take longer, some people do it quicker, but I think that's pretty extraordinary. He was literally on his way to have enough income from his past investments with positive cash flow to have financial independence. So he was just building momentum now. And he came up to me at another breakthrough experience. He put his arms around me. He says, you set me free. I'm now have my own destiny. I'm clear about my vision. I'm master planning my life. I have income. And so he was trapped. And I know there are, gosh, thousands of people out there that are comparing themselves to others, subordinating to other injection values, not giving themselves permission to take incremental steps. They want it overnight. They want immediate gratification instead of being perseverant towards a long-term vision. And they're not seeing how what they're going through right now is on the way. They see it in the way, and they're holding themselves back from taking that next step. But the gentleman who did has got his financial independence, 6 years, 7 years. And I know that that's possible. And I think that people deserve to set themselves free by going out and pursuing what's really, really valuable to them. Now, his highest value was not originally wealth building, but he had literally lost a small fortune and then went into the real estate to try to rebuild it. But when he did, he had a building momentum, and his vision is not only financial independence, but he has a cause that he wants to do this wealth for, because he knows he's going to achieve it. And now the greater his cause, the greater his wealth potential. So that's a case, a tall, lovely gentleman that when you meet him, you would see he's unassuming. He's not highly ambitious sounding. He's not, the most, what do you call it, articulative guy, just a lovely gentleman that just had a dream and never gave up on it and pursued it.
And I want to pick up on one thing you said there, John. You talked about resentment. Now, I've heard you say previously that to hang on to resentment is a bit like taking poison yourself and hoping the other guy dies. And I've got a few questions coming through here that would seem to resonate with that. I'm not going to mention the name, but there's somebody asking for specific advice. I have 2 family members that are impacting me in a negative way. I want to move on from them because I feel it hinders my success in business and life. Is it okay to walk away? And here's the hard part, John, and I don't know what you would say to this person. It's my mother and my son.
Well, is it the mother and son or the mother of his son? I don't know. But
no, mother and son.
Mother and son. Well, the first thing I always say is before you fire somebody out, fire them up. And the best thing to do is actually do the method that I developed on the person and dissolve the resentment, because many of the resentments that emerge are a result of projecting our values onto other people, or they're projecting their values onto you, or you're expecting to live in other people's values and resenting it. But we would first identify what specifically is the key traits, actions, or inactions, or behaviors that the resentment is built on, and neutralize that. Because if you don't dissolve the charges that originate the resentment, you typically recreate that in new people on the way because we're the ones carrying it. Now, that doesn't mean that there aren't times when you want to prioritize your life and just fill your day with other people until you don't have time for some of the people that are lower on priority list. But usually a mother and a son are usually high enough in priorities to fire them up and do the method on them before you fire them out. But if for some reason you reach a point, and I've seen cases where they're pretty well difficult to resolve because they have just different directions they want to go. I first do the method. I link how their values and what they want to do is helping me, and try to fire them up first and open up doors of communication. I would attempt to do that first before just walking away and ignoring them, because usually it comes back and you have to deal with it in another form. But if that is the case and they're doing it, there's no universal law saying they can't. There's no punishment in the universe that says if you do that, you're going to be punished in some way. It's internal psyche that you're dealing with. And if you're doing it because of an avoidance, it usually carries with you as a shadow. But if you're doing it because it's just time to move on and it's priority, that's another story. I always say fire them up before they fire them out. And
thank you, John. That's perfect. That is just perfect. I love that expression. Fire them up before you fire them out, because family are family. They're important. And I've heard you say often enough that to hold a charge against somebody else is holding a charge against yourself. So you got to neutralize that.
Well, anything that we can't love and appreciate and be grateful for usually becomes baggage, not fuel. And anything we can be grateful for is fuel. pardon me for going off on this tangent, but I just consulted with somebody really recently, very recently, who wife has basically shut him off, and he did something that went over the edge with her, and so she's refusing to talk, refusing to have intimacy, refusing to communicate, and he brought him and his children to me, and we sat down, and I told him, I said, well, human beings want to be loved and appreciated for who they are, not for who we want them to be. And so let's find out what she's dedicated to, because we can reopen the communication system if she feels she's getting what she wants by your being in her life. And we sat down and we wrote down and listed probably about 60 or 70 items of things we were grateful for her doing that. Because since she withdrew from him, he's focused on his business. The kids have become more autonomous. The daughter has decided to do her own business. The other two have been more ambitious. The husband has been able to give more time to the business and almost triple the business since this has occurred. And they never saw that this is actually one of the blessings that came out of it. I kept having them write the benefits until they literally got a teary eye of gratitude. And I said, now, why don't you present that to her? Because her birthday's coming up. Why don't you present as many as you can, 100 or more blessings of her withdrawing and how it served you, and thank her for being the way she is, and see what happens before you discard your wife. And I am absolutely certain that's going to help her open up and appreciate and help them communicate. When we communicate people in their values and we appreciate and love them as they are, they turn into who we love.
And thank you, Dr. Martin. That's perfect. I've got a lot of questions coming through. You're talking about values quite a lot, which is great, and I get that. I've got a lot of questions coming through in different ways that say, how would you recommend that we understand what is our highest value?
Well, I have been I've been studying axiology, which is the study of value and worth, for many, many decades now. And I have looked at various assessments to determine people's values and compiled 13 questions that I believe give a greater assessment of human values than anything I've been able to come up with or see. And I put them on my website. So they're complimentary. If you would like to go on my website, drdemartini.com, on the far left side of the menu, you'll see determine your values, and just follow the step-by-step clickings. And you will be able to go through a 13 questionnaire. How do you fill your space? How do you spend your time? What is it that energizes you? What is it you spend your money on and always have money for? 13 questions that reveal what your life demonstrates, because your values dictates how you perceive the world, decide in the world, and act in the world. And so your life demonstrates your values, and the hierarchy of your values is dictating your destiny in your life because of it. So these questions are about what your life demonstrates, not what you fantasize or ideally think it should be, which so many people are trapped in. So there's a 13 questionnaire. It takes you about 30 minutes to do it. I would encourage you to do it, sit on it, come back to it. You can store it on the website. It's private. It's for only but you. And you can come back to it anytime from now on with your name, and you put your own kind of password system in it. And you can then monitor it, look at it, and watch it, and fill it in multiple times until you feel that's it. Once you do, there's a tremendous amount of achievement that will come in your life if you start to orchestrate your life and structure your life according to what you value most. Because whatever's highest on your value, you are spontaneously inspired from within. It's an intrinsic value. And this is where you excel. And whatever's lower on your value, usually derivative values that are extrinsic, that come from outside sources usually, things you should or ought to or supposed to or got to or have to feelings. These are ones where you need motivation from the outside to get you to do it. If you're requiring motivation or incentive from the outside to get you to do what you say is important to you, it's not important. You don't need to be outside driven. I'm not a promoter of motivation. Motivation is a symptom, not a solution. I'm a promoter of inspiration, an intrinsic value, intrinsic motives from within. And this is what the value determination process on the website helps you determine. In the breakthrough experience, I help people and make sure that they go through that, because I don't want them to structure their life in a manner that's not conducive to fulfillment, not congruent with what's really valuable to them. Because until you do, great achievement is lessened. In fact, if you look carefully, they say that great achievement comes from perseverance and determination. But you'll find that you are most perseverant, most committed, and most determined by your highest values. So these are completely the same principle. And you don't give up on it. You will endure pain and pleasure in the pursuit of things, and you will endure and you'll tackle challenges because you'll see things on the way, not in the way, according to your highest values. So go online, take the time, determine your values. I promise you it'll be helpful in you achieving greatness. And I really believe that you'll achieve more, because once you start pursuing goals that are congruent, you'll build momentum, you'll expand them, you'll give yourself permission to wake up your executive center, which is more inspired, more visionary, more strategic, more disciplined. All the character traits of achievement, great achievement, come from linking or acting according to the highest values.
Perfect. Thank you, John. And if we take a different spin on things now, I know for the last 30, 40 years, you've studied many, many great achievers. What would you say stands out for you as being the common traits of those achievers? And how would each and every one of us be able to awaken those same traits in our own lives?
Well, it's interesting. I was looking at a book that was handed to me just a few days ago in Australia, a lovely book on about 400 great leaders in various fields, and what was their common daily routine, their common daily routine. And there is quite a spectrum across this. So you can see that there's some people that like to drink and do drugs, and others that are absolutely teetotalers and no drinking. But the one thing that has been consistent so far, I haven't finished the book, and the same thing I've observed in my own studies for all these decades, is that they find something they can't wait to get up in the morning and do, and they do it. And other people think they're obsessed. They're just inspired. You know, I know that many people, anybody that has a different set of values than you do, if you're persisting on what it is that you love most and you just can't wait to get up and do it and you're doing it, other people with a different set of values will see you almost impulsive, or not impulsive, but compulsive to it, obsessed with it. One of the teachers that I had in I was about 20 to 21, around November, right before I turned 21, I met up with a guy named Ed Tullison. And Ed Tullison traveled the world, and he lived in the top penthouses of some of the highest beautiful hotels. And he had students around the world. I partly modeled my life after this guy. And he went around the world, inspired people, and he had 100 audio cassettes, $10 a cassette, that were available to people. And he was absolutely persistent. And he said that you have to find what is your magnificent obsession. Now, I would call that the most inspired vision that you have, an inspired mission in your life. But he called it the magnificent obsession, the thing that you can't wait to do that other people don't comprehend and wonder why you're so committed to it. And this is usually, in observation, built out of the greatest void in the person's life. So I found this in healers. Many of them had health problems, or people died in their family, or they felt they couldn't help people, and this drove them as a void to do it. Or we could use Carnegie or John D. Rockefeller or whatever. They came from a impoverished state, and they wanted to have wealth. They didn't want to be as Rockefeller did. I didn't want to be like his father, who was basically poor. And so the voids will determine the values, and the values are basically the thing that drive us. That's why fulfillment means filling full the mind that is perceiving something empty. So accessing the thing that you're inspired to do, and then accessing the thing that people demand in the world. This is what's common to great achievers, is they find the thing that the people need the most, and they see opportunity. They have foresight, can see the potential opportunity of delivering a supply to a major demand, and they find where they love to do that, where they can't wait till morning and do it, and they match those two with a niche. those people are unstoppable. So that's one of the common threads, is finding the thing that seem to be obsessed with. Most of these people in this book were doing anywhere from, a minimum of 10 to sometimes 18 hours a day focusing on what they love doing. They had a work ethic. When you actually look at the families of the Rockefeller family and the whole dynasty there, they had a strong work ethic. They love serving people. They love working, and they knew that they had to go and deliver quality service to people. So I find that the perseverance and dedication, commitment, and almost I won't say compulsion, but I'd just say a magnificent obsession with the thing that they love doing. In my case, it's researching and writing and traveling and teaching. That's mine. I just love learning. I do it every day. I love teaching, as you can see. I'm a traveler. I've done 17,000, nearly 400,000 miles, 17,400,000 miles now. And so that's quite a bit of travel. But finding that out, I was working with a lovely gentleman who is building a real beautiful empire in the restaurant and in I guess you could say aesthetics and in building and real estate just this week. And he is literally focused. This guy is absolutely focused. He doesn't let anything go by without it linked to what he's going to focus on doing. And he works hours and hours and hours on that and focus on that. And he's intense. I always say it's about energy. If you have a tremendous amount of enthusiastic energy towards something and you're willing to stay with it and build momentum, no stopping. It was Donald Trump, the controversial character that you're hearing about everywhere. Donald taught me many years ago, it's about building momentum and staying with something and just keep building momentum until you're a train that can't be stopped. If you do that, then you're going places, and eventually everybody else kind of can't keep up with it. It's a perseverance and dedication and commitment to something that's truly inspiring that you don't want to stop on. That's the key.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Martini. Going slightly off topic, I've had about 4 or 5 comments now that's the finest tie they've ever seen ever. So they like your tie. What can we say?
Well, I guess I have to, at the end of this, tie everything together and hopefully I'll be there for them.
Okay, so next question from me, and then we'll maybe do 1 or 2 from the audience, if that's okay. What do you believe stands in the way of the average person achieving their greatness within, and what the top priority things they can do to break through any limitations to their ability to achieve that inner greatness?
Well, that's a great question. I'm going to use a bit of an educational process to answer that. You know, you probably heard that one of the greatest fears in the world is fear of speaking, fear of public speaking.
Mm-hmm.
And I've seen many people that are frightened to stand up in front of an audience. I don't really have, I did when I started, I had a fear of speaking. I don't have a fear of speaking now, I have a fear of not speaking. But when I had it, I stopped and analyzed what it is, and I'm now certain that it's a simple thing to dissolve. What the fear of speaking is a comparison of yourself to some member or multiple members in the audience that you think is more intelligent than you in the field that you're presenting, or more successful than you, or have more wealth than you, or have a more stable relationship than you, or have more social influence than you, or are more vital or better looking than you, or more spiritually aware than you. It's you comparing yourself to others, subordinating to them, minimizing yourself, thinking they have something, and then comparing, which then makes you focus on your smallness instead of focus on the message of speaking. And the moment you focus on the message and own the traits, quantitatively and qualitative, that you see in them that you're admiring inside yourself, because you can't see something in them that you don't have. Although you may be too humble to admit what you see in them is inside you, it is sitting there dormant inside you, not honored, because you're expecting it to be in the form that their values have led them to, instead of looking at the form that your values are leading you to. Once you see you have everything they have, you stand on their shoulders, not in their shadows. And this is where most people live. They're living with the 7 primary fears: the fear that they're not smart enough, the fear that they might fail, the fear that they might not make enough money or might lose money doing what they would love, the fear that they might lose loved ones or respected loved ones, the fear of rejection, the fear of not having the vitality or health or beauty, or the fear of somehow not breaking the morals and ethics of some social idealism. And these fears are as a result of subordination and the injections and injunctions of other people's values into their life and trying to be somebody they're not, instead of giving themselves permission to shine as an authentic being, owning the traits of the great. And this is what keeps people playing small. It's comparison. I say, don't compare yourself to other people. Compare your daily actions to your own highest values and strategize the highest priority actions to fulfill your dream. And you will build a brand around yourself, and instead of injecting the brands of other people in your life.
Thank you, Dr. Demartini. So if people listening in tonight want to start taking action on this, and they want to start to move towards the greatness that they can own, you have a number of courses, you have a number of online offerings. One of those covers the 7 areas of your life. So inspired destiny. So if people listening to you this evening want to begin to own their own destiny, and they want to sign up for the Inspired Destiny program, could you talk a tiny little bit, maybe briefly, about the 7 different areas of your life? Because we're all different, we've all got different values, different priorities. So could you just briefly outline the 7 different areas of life?
Yes, I over the decades of reading, there have been many teachers and, I guess you could say, thought leaders who have shared different models about a human's existence and life. And some have broken their areas of life into 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I've seen up to 12 different areas. And none of them are right or wrong. They're just different models, and we can all relate to different models. Mm. I happen to choose 7. And I believe that we have these areas that we want to master. And I know for myself, I definitely, since I was 18 years old, I wanted to master my life. I didn't know exactly what that meant initially, but I wanted to master my life. And I wanted to awaken my mental powers. I wanted to awaken my genius and my mental capacities. And I wanted to be able to learn and absorb information. And I wanted to be bright and intelligent and make wise decisions. And I wanted to empower my genius and have deep understanding and literally have wisdom. I had a dream for wisdom. My cufflinks, if you look, it has love and wisdom on the cufflinks. The love of wisdom and the wisdom of love has been really the cornerstone since I was very young. And so I wanted to empower that. The second power was business, the ability to serve people and contribute, make a difference, and get paid for it, make a profit. And I wanted to go out and I wanted to have a service that went around the world. I had a dream and a vision that is painted and sitting in my office of me standing and speaking around the world. And the painting has a major building, icon building from every country and every city around the world. And I envision myself around the world sharing a message around the world. And so we have a desire to make a difference in the world, and a vast difference deep inside us. And the more congruent we are, the bigger that vision is. And the more we give ourselves permission to do it, and the bigger the contribution we want to make. So we want to wake up our own creativity, our own genius. We want to have a contribution business-wise, vocational-wise. The third area that we want to do is we want to have financial independence. We want to have our money working for us, not us working for money. We want to be its master, not its slave, which is one of the reasons I'm here in Dublin to do a wealth presentation tomorrow. We have quite a few thousands of people here tomorrow. And so I want to have financial independence. And I really didn't grasp, I didn't really get focused on financial independence into my 20s and latter 20s, actually. But I just assumed that I wanted to do it, but I didn't get serious about it till about age 28. And then I started devouring and literally just devouring everything I can on that topic, book after book after book, and getting mentors. I wanted to have financial independence. I wanted to be able to have my money working for me and not have to work. I wanted to be able to work because I'd love to do it. And so all 3 of these are now awakened in my life. The next one was to have a relationship. Now, I didn't want to, I never really fit into the model of a little suburban house and come home and watch TV and fall asleep in a chair and overeat and become, I guess they call it the Simpsons. I envision myself having a global family. I envision myself having, I imagine that the universe is my playground, the world was my home, every country is a room in the house, and every platform, every city is a platform I get to share my heart and soul. I envision a global vision of a family dynamic. And because I just felt like we can Skype today, we can communicate today. It's a global dynamic, it's not local. In the agrarian society and in the farming societies, you had to have a close family to survive. Today, past the industrial age and now in the information age, with electronics and technology, we can have a global family. I envisioned that. And I believe that people have a desire to build the family of their choice, whatever that is. If they want a house in the prairie, that's fine. There's nothing wrong with whatever their dream is. But I just had a desire for a global family. I also wanted to make, the next one was social influence. I want to be able to make a difference in the world. I literally keep a metric of the number of people we're reaching. I actually got invited today by somebody that is claiming it. We're investigating it now, but claiming that they have 250 million people in their network. And they wanted an interview. And that could be a great catalyst to reach even more people. So I'm constantly metricing on the people that I'm making a difference in, because I want to make a difference. And it's one thing to say that, it's another thing to measure it and metric it and actually do what it takes to go and accomplish that. So I think we all want to make a difference at whatever scale we want to do, locally or globally. Mm-hmm. And I believe that we also want to have vitality and good looks. I've met people in their 80s and 90s perk up when somebody of the same or opposite sex takes a peek at them. I saw literally a 90-something-year-old woman when about a 90-something-year-old man take a peek at her. I watch her perk up. I think there's a natural desire to want to be appreciated and looked at and still have you still got it. Even if you're in your 80s and 90s, I still got that something that makes me attractive. I think people want wellness and vitality and beauty and to look like they're still attractive and sex appeal. And I hope, I'm 62 now, I hope that when I'm 100 that somebody will look at me. If not, I'll probably keep the picture from my 60s on my website. But I think that's part of the yearning to want to be able to have vitality and energy and enthusiastic life. And I think there's also a desire to be inspired and to be inspired and feel connected and communed with the universe, whether it be religious, structural religious, or non-religious. But I believe that we're here to be inspired. And I believe that all 7 of those areas, our spiritual path, our mind development, our vocational pursuits, our financial pursuits, our relationship and family pursuits, and our social pursuits, all of them want to be expanded. And so I've spent 44 years of my life now, but now I'm going on 45 years, doing everything I can to study and research and learn and mentor and share anything that will expand those areas. Because I learned a long time ago from Zig Ziglar when I was 21, that if I help other people get what they want to get in life, it helps me get what I want to get in life. I have the responsibility to serve people if I want to be served and want to have my life the way I want. And that's the key. So those are the 7 areas. I think greatness is expanded in any of those areas. And some people target one area more than others. And there's no right and wrong. There's no rules on it, because whatever's true to your values is the path you'll take. But ultimately, any area of your life that you don't empower, somebody's going to overpower you. So you're going to want to empower as many of those areas as possible to have the freest life and the most decisioned life you have. Otherwise, you have the world telling you what to do instead of you telling you what to do.
Okay, thank you, John. And I'm mindful of the clock here. We've got a number of questions to get through, so maybe we need to make these next 2 a little bit snappy, if that's okay.
Yep.
Okay, so you have achieved great things. You may not say that. I'm going to say that. What do you believe has been the most significant things in your own life that have helped you to achieve all that you achieved so far? And what would you say to other people to help them do the same? Because we want to awaken greatness within everyone.
Well, you know, I always see myself in under construction. I'm always kind of keep working on it. I don't ever think of myself as successful. I don't even like that term sometimes. I like to think of as I'm a man on a mission, and I just get up and I pursue that mission, and I keep working on that mission, and I keep prioritizing and acting on that. And I haven't given up on that. I have a track record of 44 years of researching and writing and traveling and teaching. And I just found, I learned from Mary Kay, from Mary Kay Cosmetics, to write down the 6 or 7 highest priority action steps you can do each day that can help you fulfill what's most meaningful to you in your dream. And I did that, and I found what were the priorities of the priorities of the priorities of the priorities, and by doing that. And then it boiled down to the things that I did best. And then I learned to delegate everything else off my plate, and to surround yourself with people that can take care of the things that are, in a sense, bogging you down, or the expectations that other people put on you. Do what it is that's inspiring, that you can't wait to get up in the morning and do it extremely well, and keep doing it, never give up on it. And great things will emerge. And make sure that whatever it is, it serves people and contributes to people's lives. You have to think of yourself as a vision. You have to think of the people in the world, of what you're going to do to serve them. Both of those have to be in balance if you want greatness. Either one of those that go into others, one side or the other, eventually you get feedback from the universe to get you back in balance.
And I know you well enough, John. I've spent enough time with you to know that to get you into balance, you have developed your own Demartini method. Would you talk to us a little bit about the method and how that helps bring people back into balance?
Yeah, slowly but surely, over the last 4 decades, every time I found something that worked in my life, or with helping me help other people, I kind of documented it. I wrote it down, and I slowly but surely built up a series of questions and action steps that assisted me in helping myself become consistently focused and persistent, and not distracted by emotions, and not distracted by pride or shame or fear or guilt or resentment or infatuation. And so I developed the method that later became the Demartini method, which is a series of questions. There's 48 questions in all. 14 are the primary ones, but there's 48 questions in all, to help you see life in a different way, to help you see the order in the chaos, and to help you neutralize the emotional baggage that most people are weighed down with, because they're trying to project their values onto others, or have others inject their values into you and into themselves. And the method literally helps them dissolve the emotions that weigh them down, dissolve the chaos, and allows them to be ordered, dissolves the distractions, allow them to be focused. It allows them to love and appreciate themselves and the things that are going on, so they can see things on the way, not in the way. It helps them own the traits of the great, so they can stand on the shoulders of great people and awaken what's inherent within them that they've been denying, and not live in the shadows of people. And it helps them clear baggage that affects physiology. So I really believe it reduces the aging process and helps the vitality process. So I could go on and on about the method, but it's a culmination of all the years I've been studying, put in distilled, and I share in the Breakthrough Experience to try to help people master their lives. It's a tool. It has 1,000 uses. It's just such a practical tool. It can be used in business. It can be used in relationships. It can be used in economics. I mean, I have people in almost every walk of life utilizing that method to enhance the different areas based on whatever their values dominate. And so I could go on and on with it, but that's probably the best thing to stop with, because I'd go too long otherwise.
That's fine. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Well, you've mentioned the Breakthrough Experience a few times, and I've been privileged to be on the Breakthrough Experience with you a number of times, and I found it immensely valuable, and it's certainly changed my life. It's helped me break through some barriers that were holding me back. But from your perspective, how does the Breakthrough Experience, the 2 days spent with you personally, how does this course address achievement? And in your experience, what impact has it had on helping people that you've worked with to achieve great things?
Well, when I was 17 years old, nearly 18, November 18th, in fact, 1972, that's the time I met Paul Bragg. And Paul Bragg, this one man in one night, in 1 hour, with one message, who I felt was speaking to one person, me, awakened in me a belief that I could overcome my learning problems, and that I could be intelligent, and that I could do more with my life. And that night I got a vision of what I'm doing today. And I had another vision and dream to be able to do what he's done to as many people as I can. So I've been pursuing that since that night. And the breakthrough experience is my way of doing that. I've done it now 1,090 times.
Wow.
No, pardon me. This week coming up is 1,090 times. The one in LA coming up, 1,090 times. I've done it in 63 countries. It's the most inspiring thing I can do with people in 2 days. And what we do is we help them learn the principles of human behavior. There's a lot of less than ideal material taught out there on the field. I want something solid. I want something that's a foundation of 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, it'll be the same. So I build the foundation of human behavior. I explain the 7 areas of life, how to determine your values, how to link those 7 areas to those values so you can empower all 7 areas. A lot of people excel in one area and then they drop and they're always under stress on these other areas. I show you how to you can empower all 7 areas. I show you how to dissolve fears and fantasies, phobias and philias, I call them, and guilt and shame, resentment and infatuation. I show you how to take any situation that you may be distressed by and show you how to see it in such a way that you're actually grateful and use it to your advantage. That's worth a lot. I teach the DeMartini method. I show you how to own the traits, the greats. I show you how to set goals that are congruent with values so you don't have self-depreciation, because the ABCDs of negativity, which is an internal self-depreciation, is a feedback that lets you know when you're setting goals that are congruent or not. In the breakthrough experience, I help you know what a real goal is, what are the signs you've nailed one, and not just delusions that you give yourself. Because if you set up a goal that's not really congruent, you self-defeat as a feedback to let you know you're not being congruent. So I show you how to set and master goals. I show you how to manifest things in your life based on those goals. I show you how to appreciate and love yourself, all the parts of you. Some people are trying to get rid of half of themselves and not love the total. I show people how to love all parts of themselves. I always say there's nothing you need to get rid of, and no matter what you've done or not done, you're worthy of love, and you need all the traits. One thing you'll find in great people, the principles of greatness, is that you need every part of yourself. That's why it's inside us. We don't need to get rid of any part of ourselves. We don't need to fix ourselves. We need to know how to use every part of ourselves in different settings. And so I show that in the breakthrough experience. So people that are plateaued in business, I show you how to break through plateaus. People that are having difficulties appreciating and growing wealth, I show you how to link and change values so you can actually see opportunities and take advantage of opportunities wealth-wise and structure your life for finances. If you're having difficulties in relationships, I show you how to determine the values of your partner, how to find out how those values are serving you, how yours are serving them, how to communicate in values. We go through the communication process, and how to help them get what they want and they help you get what you want. I show you how to have social influence and how to wake up leadership. I show you how the body can be healed. I show you how to manage emotions so you're not distracted from the outside. I could go on and on. The breakthrough experience is 24 hours with me. And I don't believe anybody can spend 24 hours with me without at least something sticking. Something, I've been told you can't put your hand in the pot of glue without some of the glue sticking. I don't think you can spend 24 hours with me without something rubbing off on you. So it's my way of helping people do what Paul Bragg did for me, because my life was changed in one night. And I know that one weekend can do amazing things. I've seen it. Thousands of people have been through it, and I know that it can make a difference.
And I can validate that firsthand, because I've done that a few times with yourself now, John, and it's certainly made an amazing difference to my life. And I'll share that shortly, because I know you've got to get away. You're a busy man, but I'm actually going to display the breakthrough offer now. So if people want to sign up for a breakthrough experience near them, we've got breakthrough experiences available in the US, in Canada, in the UK, also in South Africa, also in Australia. So I've just sent that live now, and because Dr. DeMartini values and wants to communicate with as much of the human population as possible. I've seen your book, John. I know how you measure your success. I know how you measure what it is you want to do. Your mission is to communicate with as many people on the planet as possible. And because Dr. Demartini wants to do that, we've got an amazing offer for you tonight, and we'll talk about that shortly. But I've just sent that live on the webinar now, because Dr. Demartini is an educator, he's an inspirational person, and if I can do anything, if I can influence you in any way, I would encourage you to invest in yourself, to allow Dr. Demartini to inspire you. Join him on a breakthrough experience. Now, Dr. Demartini, you just said spend 24 hours with you. Do you mean spend a day with you?
Well, no, what it is in the breakthrough experience, we start at 8 in the morning and we go to midnight or so.
No, that's not true. I know that's not true.
Well, we'll stay later sometimes because we want people, we don't leave until people have a breakthrough. So we just stay and we do whatever it takes. And we're not breaking people down and wearing them out. Some people ask, do you do that? No, we're helping them find the hidden order in their life and help them structure their life in a way. And we will stay and we'll help them break through whatever it is that they're wanting to get. And then we'll come back again on Sunday and we start about 9-ish and we go to about 7 or even later. So we're literally 24 hours in 2 days of intense. It's an intense experience. So it is an experience.
When you say 24 hours, you mean 24 hours of FaceTime, i.e. you're in the room with people for 24 hours?
Yes, I'm with them 24 hours in those 2 days.
Yeah, and it's a weekend. And as Dr. Demartini said, it kicks off at 8 o'clock on the Saturday. And in theory, it finishes at midnight. But I've been with you all through till 3, 4 o'clock in the morning. And you just don't give up, do you?
Well, I did the breakthrough experience one time in Paris. And I had no facilitators with me. It's just me. It's 78 attendees. And I did not stop till 5 a.m. And what was interesting is nobody was even falling asleep. Nobody wanted to go. They all stayed with me. I said, look, I'm going to go until every one of us has broken through and got what their goal and what they came here for. And we started back at about 11:30 in the morning and we went till about 8 o'clock at night full on. And I'm telling you, there were some amazing things we accomplished that weekend. So I lose track of time sometimes, but I try to finish at 12 if I can. But if we have stragglers, myself and my facilitators are working to make sure people get more than what they expect, because we're pretty consistent on this. I've been doing this a long time. I do 40 to 43 breakthroughs a year on average. And I'm pretty relentless in my goal to try to help people break through whatever's in their way. And I don't know what it's going to be till we get there, but we're gonna find out what it is. If sometimes it's them are setting goals that aren't matching their values and they're banging their head against the wall. Sometimes they got major issues with their relationship. Sometimes they're trapped in a business or in a career that they don't know how to get past, and they want to do their own business, but they're afraid of doing it. I don't know what I'm going to face. I just know we're going to do what we can to help them break through.
Perfect. And if you don't mind, Dr. Demartini, I'd just like to share with everybody the extra bonuses that we're giving everybody tonight for the next hour and 56 minutes, because everybody will appreciate around the world that we're talking to here, I'm sure, that all the prices are in different currencies. So, I'm sorry about that, but we don't have a global currency yet. I mean, I guess people are working on it probably. But over and above the normal early bird offer, you click on that offer tonight and you click on the country that suits you. And what you're going to get is you're going to get an extra 10% off even the early bird price tonight, which is just an incredible offer. I can see many people, Dr. Demartini, that are saying, absolutely amazing, that was brilliant. I did the breakthrough with you in 2012 or 2009 or whatever it was. So you got a lot of fans out there. And well, you know that, I don't need to tell you that. And for people that are coming back for the second or third or fourth time, there's a very, very special offer for repeat visitors. So that's all in there. You just need to click through that. But we want to take away any reason for you not to do the breakthrough experience with Dr. Demartini. So we want to give you an online fast start bundle. So the Inspired Destiny online course that's normally $400 US dollars, you book up tonight and we're going to give you that completely free of charge. And over and above that, there's actually 14 audio downloads, 2 for each of the 7 areas of life, which are the principles of great achievement. And that's another $880 that you're going to get completely free. So if you've ever thought, is there a different way? Can I have a different life? Is this all that there is, or do I have to do this? I don't even need to ask you, Dr. Demartini, you don't want people thinking that this is the way life has to be and they have to do the job that they hate doing, do you?
Well, it was Thoreau who said, most people live quiet lives of desperation. I did not want to live a desperate life. I wanted to live an inspired life. Everything that I have done in the last 44 years has been that pursuit. I want to do something with my life. I want people to give themselves permission to do something extraordinary with their life. My observation is, if they had only 24 hours to live, they would say, thank you, I love you to people. They want to have gratitude and love in their life. They want to make a difference, and they want to leave a mark. They want to do something extraordinary. That's the innate, true nature. But sometimes it gets clouded and lost. That's why I put the Breakthrough Experience together, to try to help them reclaim the greatness that they have inside them, because it's there. It's not gone. It's there. It's innate, and they deserve to let it out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And, I can speak for myself, and just to share a little of my story, because I know you've got to go very shortly, John, but when I came to my first breakthrough, there's a number of people saying, how many people are going to be at the Breakthrough Experience? And is Dr. Demartini, is John himself going to be there? And I have to share with you, I was quite shocked when you walked into the room in Denver, because these great global thought leaders, they often delegate this stuff to their lieutenants or people they brought through. Is it true that you personally do every single breakthrough yourself, and it will be you in the room?
Well, there are a few of my facilitators over the years that are able to deliver the Breakthrough Experience around the world independently of me. Mm-hmm. But everyone that I advertise with me in it, it's me. You get me.
Perfect.
I also have my facilitators assisting me, because depending on the numbers of people, we have people that assist. I need assistance, but I'm in that room and I'm working and assisting people breaking through. So I'm here. You get me.
All right. And I'm glad I did, and thank you. And I just wanted to share that with everybody. I've got some other questions coming through here. If I book tonight, but I can't make the first date in London or Sydney or whatever, in addition to the special offer we've got for you tonight, if you book yourself on to one of these Breakthrough Experience, wonderful, wonderful, life-changing weekends, this is going to be valid for any date in the country that you've chosen through the whole of 2017. So this is not date specific. You sign up tonight, and or sorry, maybe this morning, wherever you are. If it's probably this morning, if you're in Australia, it's about 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning, or whatever it is. I'm sat up here in Scotland, so it's evening time for me. This is going to be valid for any course that suits you through 2017. Okay, so we've got some more questions, if that's okay with you, Dr. Demartini.
I love it. I love doing questions.
Yeah, I know you do. I absolutely know you do. Okay, so I've got a specific question here. So Sandy is saying, why don't I value wealth building?
Well, I ask people around the world, how many of you want to be wealthy and financial independent? And most people put their hands up. Mm-hmm. But we know that only 1% or less actually achieve it. And when we go and do an assessment on the values of people, and I've done that on thousands of people, we find out that building a business or managing the business efficiently to make profits, or saving and investing money and building wealth does not show up on a great percentage of people's values. In fact, if it's not in the top 3 or 4, financial independence is rare, if ever going to happen. So most people have a value on other things. Most people have a value on lifestyle and buying depreciables and consumables, and not buying assets that put money in their pocket. And therefore, the second they get money, they buy these things that are more important to them. Some of them have a higher value on family. Some have a higher value on travel. Some have a value on clothes. Some have a value on experiences and entertainment. And some have value on cars. But as long as you have a higher value on things that depreciate in value when you buy them, and that are immediate gratifying, and they're consumables, and they're not assets that are actually putting money in your pocket and growing value and wealth, then you're going to be working your life for money and not have your money working for you. You'll be a slave, not a master. So there is, and I explained it in the Breakthrough Experience, there is 6 steps that you can change whatever your values are. We can rearrange the values to increase the probability of you having wealth if you want. I've been doing that for many, many, many years to help people rearrange values so it is up high enough on their values for them to be able to see opportunities, make decisions, and take advantage of opportunities, and to structure their life to have wealth. And even people that later on in life can turn their financial life around. But if you don't have it on your value list, your hierarchy of values dictates your financial destiny. If you have a higher value on buying Jimmy Choo shoes than you do on putting it in stocks or real estate, you're probably going to be walking tall, but not necessarily having a cash flow.
Okay. So I'm not sure if this is breakthrough or marriage guidance, but I've got a question from Penelope. I don't know where Penelope is in the world, but she's saying, for the breakthrough experience, is it recommended that husband and wife attend separately?
You know, I can't give you an absolute without knowing what the personal situation you're in. I would encourage couples to come because that way they're both on the same playing field in learning and communicating. I've seen many, many marriages that are really close to throwing in the towel at Breakthrough realize, wow, I had no idea that there's this, that I can do these things and change my relationship. So I always say use the Breakthrough Experience to fire it up before you fire it out. But in some cases, people come independently and then they share what they've learned with the spouse, and that person comes at a different time. And sometimes the spouse doesn't have an interest in coming to those types of things, personal development programs. But if you love and appreciate them for the way they are, which you can learn in the Breakthrough Experience, the tools and methods can show you how to love and appreciate just about anything that you can face. And if you want that, and it can help you appreciate your relationship. But if you, for some reason, have the opportunity to bring them, my experience is that that's probably the most efficient way of doing it. But it's not mandatory. It's just more efficient. I've seen entire families come to the Breakthrough Experience where 6 children in the room with a mother and father and 6 children doing it and clearing the baggage in the family and rejuvenating the family dynamic and breaking through the illusions that it's supposed to be peaceful all the time and supposed to be happy all the time, and allow them to understand the laws that govern family dynamics, which I explain. Each Breakthrough Experience has a slightly different theme based on the collective group and people that are there. It has a life of its own. And so we sometimes go more into business or a little bit more into relationships or finance or social influence or health, or depending on the energy of the group. We cover all areas, but we may have a little emphasis on one area more than the other. And sometimes it's a lot about relationships, because that is a big one. Money and relationships are 2 biggies.
Perfect.
If you want to come with a spouse, that would be ideal. But if they don't want to come or they don't have the ability to come, that doesn't mean you can't come and start the ball rolling. Perfect.
And if a couple sign up, or if 2 people sign up, there's an incremental discount for that as well. So that's even more efficient if 2 people want to come together. So I've got a question. This isn't really a question for yourself, Dr. Demartini. This is a question from Anne. So this is a kind of practical question. Can you just confirm definitely that if we sign up, we can get any date in the year 2017? When I clicked on the link, it only mentioned the dates in March. Thank you. So yes, Anne, I can confirm that. If you invest this evening, you're going to get the opportunity to come to any one of the breakthrough dates in the country of your choice at this extremely special offer price this evening. Okay, here's one that should be very quick for you, Dr. Demartini. Dean is asking you, how much sleep do you get on average per night?
Well, From about age 18 to probably early 50s, I was doing around 4 plus. And, but around 50s, my eyesight started to waver a bit, and I started getting blurry if I didn't get plenty of sleep.
Mhm.
And sometimes I get up in the middle of the night and relieve my bladder a little bit more frequently than I did. And so that kind of disturbs sleep. So today it's closer to the 6 mark, my sleeping. And if I get a good night's sleep, I do 6 or under 6, but that's what it is today. I don't do well at the 4 mark like I used to. For some reason, these other factors are coming in. And I think that that's just part of the game. I guess as we hit our 60s, there's some changes there. But I did 4 hours sleep for many, many, many years. And people said you can't do it, but I did. I was capable of doing that. I'm very intense schedules.
Okay, and we've got many people saying, wow. So Undimi is saying, wow, your teachings are inspiring. Itzel is saying, are you coming to Mexico City someday?
I would love to come to Mexico City. I haven't been there in a while. The last time I was there was a few years ago. We got to speak to 2,600 people at the World Trade Center in Mexico City. In fact, I have on one of my CDs or DVDs, which is called let's see, the Inspired. Let's see. Well, there's a DVD that is on Living an Inspired Life that I have that's from Mexico City. If I'm not there, get that. It's in Spanish and it's in English, and it was live in Mexico City. If you contact my office, they can tell you which exact DVD it is. But it's an inspired DVD, I promise. It's one of the best things I've done.
Okay, and Sean is saying, booked. Thank you, Dr. Demartini. See you in South Africa.
Oh, fantastic. Thank you.
So perfect. Olivia is saying, I'd love you to come back to Phoenix, Arizona. Could you put that in your calendar, please?
I just got another request from Scottsdale yesterday. So I told them in my response that sometime possibly in the latter part of the year, we're hoping to do Scottsdale. To Phoenix, but I don't have one scheduled yet.
Okay, I'm getting bombarded by Americans at the moment, which is great. Nan is saying, will you be in Dallas, Texas soon? We'd love to see you here.
I don't know. We usually do Dallas sometime at least once a year. Right now, what I've got on the schedule is what we've got. I don't know the dates, but usually we try to do at least one a year in Dallas, but I don't know any dates that we have scheduled right now.
Okay, but what I would emphasize, everybody, whether you're in the US, Canada, the UK, South Africa, Australia, you take advantage of this super special. You are not going to get better value than what you're seeing here this evening. You're getting massive bonuses. You get an extra 10% off. You're getting the Inspired Destiny online. You get the Principles of Great Achievement. You invest in this bundle this evening, and you can use this for any date that suits you in your country for 2017. So, okay, so bringing it back more local, we've got Bernie in Ireland saying, gratitude and love for your inspiration. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm in Dublin right now, so I'm right around the corner from whoever's on that one.
Yeah, I know you are. Blimey, you're getting invited to basically every country in the world at the moment. So I've got, could Dr. Demartini come back to Italy too over the next few years? I've got hi from Greece. I've got Barcelona, Spain. Okay. Oh, here's a good one. So Marie Claire, I don't know where Marie Claire is from. She doesn't say, but she says, okay, before I come to Breakthrough, would you recommend any preparation before the event?
I would encourage her. You said Marie?
Marie Claire.
Yeah. Marie, I would encourage you, if you could get the book, The Breakthrough Experience. By no means does it do complete justice to the program, because the book is an earlier book and the program has evolved further. but at least it gives you whets the appetite, gives you some feel for some of the content. I would then take advantage of either CDs or online materials and read on my website. My website is an educational experience. You can read articles after articles under the media section, or listen to radio, television, newspapers, magazine articles. I would just start educating yourself on our website, or listen to some of the products, and get that book and the Values Factor book. Those two will set the stage. But the breakthrough experience is an experience. I ask people at the end of each breakthrough, how many of you thought of somebody who could have benefited by being here? Every hand goes up. And then I asked you, how many of you feel you learned something here that you could have gone your entire life and never have learned? And every hand goes up. Because there's something unique in this program. And I state that with certainty. You will learn something that you didn't get somewhere else.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so I've got Dolly. Again, I'm not sure where Dolly's from. It's just Dolly. So sorry, Dolly. I don't know anything about it. So Dolly's saying, is there an additional discount for a repeat breakthrough? Yes. Click on the link, Dolly, and you'll see the repeat attendee. So yeah, absolutely. Oh, Marie Claire is saying she's from LA, John. So
oh, fantastic. Well, I'm going to be in LA. Let's see, this weekend I'm in Houston, Texas, doing my Master Planning for Life program. The following week I'm in Los Angeles doing some programs and the Breakthrough Experience. So I'll be in Santa Monica at the Fairmont Hotel, that beautiful Fairmont there, over the beach, and doing the Breakthrough Experience. And it's going to be a lovely group there. So maybe she can join us there. It'd be absolutely lovely.
Perfect. Okay, so Kevin, a more kind of technical question, if that's okay, to Dr. Martini.
Yes.
When you know your purpose and you have the skills to achieve your goals, but you don't follow through, what's the typical reason for this? Why am I stuck and not following through?
Well, if you're not taking action, somehow you're not in the executive center, and somehow what you're thinking the purpose is needs some more refinement. Because when you're really clear, there's certainty, and you don't have this hesitation because your executive center sees strategies to fulfill things. So many times people, it's just like if I ask people, how many of you want to be financially independent? Everybody puts their hand up. And they really believe they want to be financially independent, but they don't. They want to spend money like the lifestyles of the rich and famous. And they don't want to save and invest it and do the due diligence it takes to build wealth. And so sometimes people think they have clarity of their purpose, but their life demonstrates their purpose. This is the key thing about Breakthrough that I try to get across to people. Your life demonstrates what you value most. You do not require motivation or reminding or incentives for your purpose. But if you have an idea what you think it is and you keep not acting on it, there's some refinement to be done. And there's some, there's time to break through the subordinations, because sometimes we compare ourselves to others and are afraid to act, like the person who's afraid to speak in front of people. So in the Breakthrough, I go through and I dissolve them. I show you how to dissolve that. So we need to refine the purpose and get really clear, because if you're not acting on it, there's something there that's not really highest on your value. Your purpose is your highest value. That's the telos, the chief aim, the end in mind. That is the purpose, not something we just happen to write that we think is important to us. Our life demonstrates our values and demonstrates what our purpose is. That's the key. I always ask people, if you ask yourself, what is it you do every day that you're inspired to do, that you never have to be reminded to do, that you act on daily, that's your purpose revolves around that. So you don't need to be reminded. I don't need reminding. I don't need motivation to get on Research, Write, Travel, and Teach. I've been committed to that for 44 years. I got a track record on. That is what we want to find. That's the true purpose.
Perfect. So Marie Claire from LA has had time to reflect on this, and she said, I'll be there. She's going to see you there.
I look forward. Please introduce yourself, Marie. I'd love to meet you personally, because otherwise I won't know who it is. So speak up. Let me know.
Okay, so I've got another one here from Pauline. I've got hundreds of questions coming in. I can't cope with them all, so my sincere apologies if I'm not getting all of them here. So I've got one from Pauline here, John. It'd be nice if, could Dr. Demartini talk about grief and loss, which is I'm guessing that Pauline's been to a breakthrough, because she's saying it's a powerful part of the breakthrough experience.
Oh, I didn't even bring that up. On Sunday afternoon, I asked the audience, the attendees, is there anybody here that's having grief and is perceiving a loss of either a loved one or somebody close in their family or a friend, or possibly of income or money or job opportunities, or maybe a health issue and had to lose an arm or something, any form of loss or bereavement, and are having grief? And I have developed a method as part of the DeMartini method that is a science. And I mean, it's reproducible, it's duplicatable, it's translatable, it's transferable. It works every time to dissolve the grief. And I'm not talking about in months or years or even weeks. I'm talking about in minutes to hours. In fact, when Christ Church had its earthquake, we were invited to come and do that for the people of Christ Church. When Ishinomaki in Japan in the last tsunami, we were invited to work there. And now we've been invited, the prefecture of Nagasaki in Tokyo in May, for the anniversary of the recent earthquake. They've asked us to come and bring my facilitators to help the people who have lost loved ones, lost their homes, everything else. So this is a very powerful tool that I present in the Breakthrough Experience on how to dissolve any perception of loss, because that can distract us. I have people in the investment field, in the markets, that are dealing with gains and losses every day. I have people in that field using this method, dealing with their brokers and their traders, dealing with gains and losses, so they don't allow emotions to distract them. They stay focused and strategic. So if you're having any form of grief, take advantage of the Breakthrough Experience. I promise you, I will show you how to do it, and I'm going to actually do it in front of you. You're going to see it live. And the people vote who I get to work with. So I don't have any idea who it's going to be. I just dissolve it and show it to you. It's live. It's absolutely mind-blowing watching.
Well, I can vouch for that. I've seen it several times, Dr. DeMartini, and it is incredible. So we've got a few more sort of practical questions that I can maybe pick up here. So Fabian is saying, how many participants are at each Breakthrough Experience? And what's the maximum number you would accept? So the Breakthrough Experiences I've been at have maybe been between 60 and 100. I don't know. I've never really asked you that question. What's the maximum?
Well, the maximum I've ever had was in Australia, and second one was in London. It was between 250 and 300. Mm-hmm. We had, I think, 45 or 48 facilitators helping, because I have usually a facilitator for every 7 people with me, because I'm floating around all over the place working and they're helping me. But the average breakthrough from all the global highs and lows, I've seen them down in the 20s. I've seen them high in the 200s and 300s, depending on cities and new places we've started. On average is about 70.
Yeah. Okay.
About 70.
Perfect. Okay, so we've got Alicia saying, very excited to be attending Breakthrough in South Africa in March. Perfect. What else have we got here? We've got so many coming in. We've got Prasnath from Bangalore, India. We've got Kohei from, I hope I pronounced that right, Japan. Dean, I'm not sure where he's from. He's saying, what books are you currently reading and what do you recommend, Dr. DeMartini?
Oh, gosh. I'm at 30,018 books now.
Can you give us a list of all of them?
Yeah. It depends on the topic that you would love. I could give you maybe a guideline. The 2 books, people ask me, what are the 2 most significant books or 3 most significant books I could recommend? I tell people to go and read Syntopicon Volumes 1 and 2 by Britannica. It's from the great ideas and the great books. Syntopicon, Syntopicon, Volumes 1 and 2 by Britannica. These 2 books are, as far as I'm concerned, by Mortimer Adler, 2 of the finest books you can probably put your mind into. It's a PhD on life. And I recommend it as a foundation. I devoured those in my 20s, and about 60 volumes in that particular selection, or a collection, pardon me. And those are 2 very great books to start with. I think those are great. They're general study. What they are is the greatest ideas by the greatest minds over the last 2,700 years in the Western world, summarized in two 800-page volumes. I highly recommend that as an education for expanding vision. My courses that I teach, I have 75 courses that I teach. They began on those kinds of foundations. I've started with the classics, the greatest ideas by the greatest minds, the greatest Nobel Prize winners, the greatest thinkers I can get my hand, the greatest in every field. But these two books, I promise you, are worthy to read. You'll probably take a few pages at a time, or maybe a chapter at a time, and just digest it and let it sink in. You'll stand on shoulders of giants by reading these two books.
Okay, and I know we've overindulged in your time, Dr. Demartini, so it's been wonderful sharing this webinar with you, and you've inspired thousands of people around the world again tonight. So I think we need to let you go, because I know you've got lots of other things to do, and I'm just going to hang on here and talk a little bit about what the breakthrough did for me. And I've also got my wife Annika with me, who I know you know well, John. She's been to a good number of breakthrough experiences now, and she's also one of your facilitators. So we can we can take it from here. So
can I say one last thing to everybody?
Yeah, of course.
Wherever you are right now, whatever country, whether you're male or female, or young or old, or you're sitting in your bed in front of your computer at your desk, or maybe at a coffee shop, or whatever you happen to be, or with loved ones or friends, go inside yourself tonight and think about what you're grateful for, not just for this day, but what you're grateful for in your life. Just reflect on all the things you're grateful for, and see if you can't write down and jot down enough things to be grateful until you get a tear in the eye, a gratitude attitude tear. And the moment you do, close your eyes and then go inside and say to yourself, I now give myself permission to do something extraordinary on planet Earth. I now am going to live by the principles of greatness and great achievement. And go inside and then just meditate for a few moments, and then ask for inner guidance from within yourself, your own intuition and inspiration. And write down what inspirations come to you, and start making a habit of living by an inspirational guidance from within. I said on The Secret, when the voice and the vision on the inside is louder and more profound than all opinions on the outside, you begin to master your life. And then find a way somehow to come to the breakthrough experience. I know you'll say thank you, and you'll be able to stand on the shoulders much quicker and more powerfully. So thank you for giving me the chance to share with you tonight on these principles tonight. And just know that no matter what you've done or not done, you're worthy of love, and you deserve to do something amazing, because that's the true you. And I'll check out. And Paul, thank you. And Nico, thank you for hosting this and coordinating this. And all the people behind the scenes, thank you for helping make this possible tonight. And I look forward to seeing everybody live and in person at the breakthrough, or wherever we get to meet. And I'll get off.
All right. Thank you 100% as always, Dr. Demartini. Inspirational. I've got message after message after message. You got love hearts here. You got North Queensland loves you. You've got all sorts of things going on here, Dr. Demartini. So inspirational as always. So what I'm going to do for the next few minutes is I'm just going to share. I'm going to share what breakthrough did for me, and specifically what breakthrough did for me was it was a business breakthrough, and the way in which I make a living is real estate investment. And for years and years and years, I had been banging my head off a glass ceiling. And so for me, I wanted to understand what it was I needed to do to get to the next level. So it was just January in 2016 where I met Dr. Demartini for the very first time in Denver, in Colorado. And I was earning good money, but I was stopping myself from getting ahead. I was earning hundreds of thousands. And the breakthrough completely allowed me to drop all the baggage, to drop all the negativity, to drop all the anchors that were stopping me from achieving. And on the very next month, I ran a real estate webinar, an investment webinar. And on that one webinar, on the very first webinar that I ran straight after attending the breakthrough experience, the amount of income that came my way from just that very first webinar, after spending time with John Demartini, Dr. John Demartini, was more. So in 2 hours, I actually earned more than I had in the previous 12 months. So I know not all of us would want to attend the breakthrough experience for financial reasons, but for myself, that was my goal. That's what I wanted to unblock. And for anybody out there that's got anything in their life that's holding them back, then I would heartily recommend, from personal experience, booking yourself onto the nearest breakthrough experience to yourself, and making sure that you take advantage of this extremely special offer, because this offer is only going to be available for about the next hour and a half. So the extra bundle, the online packages, the Fast Start bundle, all of these things are only available for the next hour and a half. And Dr. Demartini and the Demartini Institute have very kindly agreed to give additional discount. So if this is something you think you want to do, I think you need to do it in the next hour and a half, because don't do this. Don't decide that you want to do it in 2-3 days time, because it's just going to cost you more money and you're not going to get the bonuses. These are tonight only, now only, or if you're in Australia, this morning only, or even if you're in the West Coast of the US, this morning only bonuses. But they're really, really, you've got over $1,200 of US dollars of bonus material here. You've got additional discounts. And what I'm going to do now is I'm actually just going to, she's been sat here very quietly. I'm actually going to start talking to my better half, my wife Aniko, because it was actually Aniko's fault that I got involved or introduced to Dr. John Demartini. And I'm just going to ask Aniko, what would she say to anybody that was considering attending the breakthrough experience? So Aniko, I know you are now a Demartini facilitator, but just cast your mind back to the very first time that you decided to go to a breakthrough. Why did you decide to go to a breakthrough experience in the first place?
First of all, hi everybody. It was a great pleasure to listen to Dr. Demartini, and he brought back so many memories of the breakthrough experience. In 2016, I done 4 breakthroughs. I remember very vividly, before I answer your question directly, Paul, of the first time where we were in Denver, and the gentleman who was sitting behind us, when we introduced ourselves, it turned out that he knows John from 10 years, and he keeps coming back for 10 years. And I remember very strongly that at the time I thought that, oh my God, what might be maybe potentially wrong with the gentleman, that he needs to come back for 10 years. And it wasn't until after the event when I realized, given that I'd done 4 times just in the last year myself, the power you will get from the breakthrough experience. To answer your question, what I would say to people who are considering to go to the breakthrough experience, probably one of the best things ever you can do to set yourself free. I'm a type of person who used to be under the influence of other people. Might not be visible. Loads of my friends, when they eventually discussed that, didn't really viewed me on that way, but I really cared of what other people said, thought about me, how I come across in various circumstances. But what I felt, I wasn't myself. I didn't allow myself to be who I am. And the breakthrough and knowing Dr. Demartini and understanding his methods just set me free. Now I can be happy in my own skin. And for me, that's worth more than anything you can imagine in a financial sense, or, for me, that was the main benefit what I got. So yeah, it's something I would say to everybody, and I'm sure that loads of people who've been there before, it's life-changing. Something you will look back and will be very, very thankful. Dr. Demartini is a person who you really should allow to come into your life and help you to break through, to go to the next level where you can be a better yourself.
Thank you, Aniko. And specifically, Dr. Demartini talked about 7 different areas of life. Which areas of your life do you think that Dr. Demartini has impacted?
It's interesting. I would say by now all. It started with the first breakthrough I had. It was a business partner who I found it difficult to deal with. I have to say, honestly, I was a bit skeptical about the process itself. I would say I was maybe a bit half-heartedly participated to start with, but eventually John pushed me through, and I had a breakthrough, and the change in my perception of life and myself and the business just changed, and I started to see what that method can do to me. So as I said, originally it was in the business area, but since then I use that method on all 7 areas of life. It's something when you learn to use, it's part of your daily life, and you really becoming a better yourself. You just, it's, you see, until you experience it, it's difficult to say. If I would have heard somebody talking like I'm talking to you guys now, I would have probably said that, yeah, it's great work, and maybe it's worked for you, but just give yourself a chance. If you have any question, there is a reason why you are here on this call, why you are wanted to listen to what Dr. Demartini can say. So it's definitely, there is something there which is curious in yourself, wanting to be the best you can be. And a breakthrough can help you to achieve that, and it's not a one-off. It can help you to achieve it time and time again, and it's just an immense value in every part of your life, all 7 areas.
Okay, thank you, Aniko. And maybe final question to Aniko, unless anybody else has got any other questions for her. Having done the breakthrough experience, what is it that inspired you, or why did you decide to become one of Dr. Demartini's facilitators?
Okay, I'm coming from a business background, and I always thought and felt that business was my destiny. I love businesses, especially startup businesses, but the real true value, which I needed to go to quite a few breakthroughs to really understand myself and allow myself to be myself, is helping people. I want to serve people in particular, and I know and understand how in business, for example, you can serve people, but that compared to the change what Dr. Demartini made in many people's life, the real change when people were ready to jump from the top of a building, and that person's mom handed the phone over to John on a live breakthrough to help her daughter not to end her life there and then. And John changed that person's life forever, not only getting her down from that building, but become the best of herself, love herself, and now help others to do the same. That for me is real life-changing experience. So whilst I love what business and money and wealth can do to people, for me, John's work and the breakthrough and the values is something what is truly resonate with me of life-changing. So that's why I decided that I would like to be a small part of it, and as much as I can, just help to change as many people's life as possible.
Thank you, Annika. And I know that this is immensely important to you, and I've seen the change, and I've seen the change in myself. And it's not about being a different person, it's about the best version, becoming the best version of you that you can be. So it's not about changing you, it's about accepting you. So if you think you're put on this planet to do more than you're doing now, then I, for one, and I know Annika would massively strongly recommend that you, as soon as possible, attend the breakthrough experience. So just again, for clarity, the breakthrough experience, if you take advantage of the offer that we're putting in front of you this evening, you can choose a date that suits you in your local country, anytime in 2017, over and above the published early bird discounts in your local currency. You're going to get an additional 10% discount. So that's 10% off over and above the special offer price that you're seeing this evening. In addition to that, you're going to get the 14 downloadable course elements that are part of the Principles of Great Achievement. In addition to that, you're going to get the Inspired Destiny online course, which is $1,280 worth of content, and that is only available for the next hour and a bit. So, as I said probably 15 minutes ago, please don't decide you want to do this tomorrow. As Annika said earlier, there's a reason why you're on this webinar tonight. There's a chance you've got to change your life, and that chance is to expose yourself directly to Dr. John Demartini. He's changed the lives of countless tens of thousands of people around the world, and he's certainly changed my life, and he's certainly changed Annika's life, and many people's we know.
Can I just say something? It was interesting when you had the discussion with John about how long is the breakthrough and the 24 hours and all the rest of it. Can I just say to everybody that environment, that 24 hours is so energizing. You will not believe when the time is already midnight, because you are releasing so much baggage and getting the energy to flow through yourself, that it's amazing. The next morning, Sunday morning, people's face is just uplifted, people becoming younger. And I know it sounds weird, but until you experience once, it's hard to believe how everything what we carry with ourselves, without the help of the Demartini method and the breakthrough experience, is wearing us down. I'm not an early person. So before 9 o'clock, don't try to talk to me. Yet I was so awakened and so much looking forward to, and literally just trying to take everything in what Dr. Demartini is talking about, because of the impact it does on your physically, on your body as well as your mind. So yeah, it's just an amazing experience, but please don't let it put you off that it's kind of either early morning or late nights, because you will, I promise, you will not feel it. You just feel that, oh my God, where this 2 days gone, you want more of it. That's why I keep coming back.
Okay, so we've probably got another 3 or 4 minutes, and then we need to wrap up this evening's webinar. I keep saying this evening because it's dark outside, but I appreciate the sun might just be coming up wherever you are. So yeah, any last questions? We've got Madeleine is saying, please stay in touch via Facebook. Absolutely, perfect. I will come and find you. If anybody is having difficulty accessing the offer for whatever reason, if your credit card's playing up, or if there's extra questions you want to ask, to secure tonight's offer or this morning's offer or today's offer, wherever you are, at this price and to get this bundle, can you please put your name and your email address into the chat box, and we'll get the office to follow up with you tomorrow. So I've got Dolly is asking, for instance, for the refresher rate in Breakthrough in Houston. So any questions like that, or if you're trying to book and you can't for whatever reason, just put your name and your address in the chat box, your email address. So your name and we will get the we'll get the office to catch up with you in the next 24 hours. So if we don't want some technical bug to stop you taking advantage of this great offer. So just put in your email address and your name. Okay, thank you, Dolly. I can see you've done that. So just anybody else, Dolly, everybody else, where you're trying to do something and you're getting some sort of technical frustration, because we all get a bit of technical frustration sometime, then we'll get the office to catch up with you in the next 24 hours and make sure we get you whatever it is that you're trying to do. Okay, so I think that's about it from us this evening. So from everybody at the Demartini Institute, so from Dr. John Demartini himself, who's currently in Dublin, from Paul and Anniko, who are currently up here in Scotland. We've got people. I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure to be on this webinar this evening. I've seen messages from France, Cyprus, the US, South Africa, Serbia, Siberia. I've seen Japan. I've seen pretty much all around the world. So this is probably the most global webinar I've ever had the privilege of doing. And yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to try and pronounce that name correctly. Hope I get it right. Vaishali is asking, what's the couples discount? If you click through on the offer, Vaishali, you'll see it. So by country, just click on the relevant flag or whatever it is, the name of the country, and you'll see all of the various rates, from the single person rate to the couples rate to the group rate to the repeat sit rate. So just click on it and you'll see it. Vishali is saying, will it be over and above the 10%? Yes, the rate that you're seeing displayed, Vishali, you'll get an additional 10% discount on that. So yeah. So Martha, thank you for putting your email address in there. That's great. We'll get the office to catch up with you. So we've still got 400 people live on the call, which we're coming up for nearly 2 hours now. So thank you to each and every one of you that's here and has been here. You've got round about another hour to take advantage of this offer. So please make sure you do. Annika and myself are going to sign off now. Dr. Demartini has inspired all of us this evening. He certainly inspired me. I know he's inspired Annika. I hope it's inspired you. So to each and every one of you, wherever you are in the world, I hope to see you at a breakthrough experience soon. And thank you for giving up your time. Thank you for being here with us this evening. And you've all been wonderful. We've been Paul and Annika. Good night.